My name is Natasha Dadzi. I am the Incubator Manager for the Ashesi Venture Incubator. The Ashesi Venture Incubator is a program of the Ashesi Entrepreneurship Center where graduates and recent alumni of Ashesi University get the opportunity to explore entrepreneurship as a career objective. At AVI, we provide our young entrepreneurs with robust professional development, technical assistance, business coaching from local and global experts, as well as financial stipends to keep them afloat while they're in the incubator.
My name is Ashesi. I'm Chairman of Ghana Hubs Network and CEO of iSpace. iSpace is an innovation hub working with entrepreneurs both in ideation and also MVP stage, and then pretty much focused on tech, business and creative skills development. I chose to be part of this EVCA project mainly because I believe in value chain approach to development, where all the stakeholders kind of stick to what it is that they're good at, their own strengths, and I think the objectives of this particular project spoke directly at that.
As the manager of the Ashesi Venture Incubator, I lead an exceptional group of young entrepreneurs. The incubator provides a safe space for them to kick off their business ideas. I mean, the people that usually come in, or the young graduates from school, are fresh. They need the guidance, they need the structure, they need the platform for them to test, retest and validate. So being part of, for lack of a better word, the ecosystem that would help provide value to these entrepreneurs means a lot to me as an incubator manager and the incubator as a whole. There are a number of challenges that you would face as a young entrepreneur in Ghana, especially operating in this environment. The largest amount of entrepreneurs that we have in this country, close to about 92% of them are operating in the informal sector. So there is a huge gap with structure. There's a huge gap with getting access to markets, access to finance, because of the informal nature of our entrepreneurial system in Ghana. And you would bear with me that there is no system that exists for an entrepreneur to thrive. The
biggest challenge in the Ghanaian ecosystem definitely is the human capital challenge, and then also the stakeholders that are supposedly providing the support kind of being helter-skelter, so to speak, right? And I think we've not really narrowed down into who does what, who's good at what, and who needs to do what. With the emergence of Ghana Hubs Network, for example, looking at ways in which we can standardize hubs in the operations and how they even interact in the ecosystem. So I think in the next 5 to 7 years, we will see a much more matured ecosystem, because I'll say the operators themselves know what it is that they're doing.
Let me just bring it down into the incubator and how we are working tirelessly with major players in the ecosystem. And I see a replication of that happening within various spheres. So right now, it's just a Ashesi Venture Incubator looking to work with key players, industry players. We want to work with markets. We're looking for opportunities with government, and just to create that safe environment for entrepreneurs.
From the perspective of an incubator, I think the project fits into this because it's allowing the stakeholders to work together, not against each other. So it's more collaborating in that sense, right?
EVCA started a couple of years back. Looking at the period in which we took off, I remember there was the pandemic had just hit, and their goal, I remember in one of our very first meetings, was to identify gaps and bridge those gaps with opportunities. There are individual players that exist in the ecosystem. Everybody has access to resources that can benefit an entrepreneur. So creating the connecting path through the EVCA program, identifying these gaps, making the assets available to connect through, for lack of a better word, a value chain would be beneficial to the normal entrepreneur?
The design process over the pandemic really changed or shaped the view, because it made you realize that the saying that no man is an island was actually true, because now you're stuck at home, right? The people that you thought your competitors are actually now your competitors. You're supposed to collaborate together. And it kind of shaped that mindset that now we need to work together. How do we rely on each other's strengths, right? And be able to then predict the future, so to speak. So it made us much more resilient. And also kind of look inward and then realize that, okay, this is what I'm good at, this is what I need to be good at, and then these are the things that I need capacity building.
The design process through COVID has taught us one thing. Change is inevitable and it can happen at any time. I wouldn't call it difficult, but it was a process of change that we had to enforce working with our entrepreneurs.
The next steps would be the stakeholders that participated in the first, I would say the initial programming, to come together, look for funds, like get a proposal together and get funds to make this implemented first and hopefully make it sustainable. Make it like a membership organization so that other hubs can also join. Because what I don't want this to be seen as an elitist thing, where it would be, let's say, iSpace and Impact Hub or any other hubs that's supposed to be the bigger ones and people talking to, right? So I think it needs to be open to the ecosystem.
I would love to see a little bit of action, okay? I mean, there's been a lot of hard work that has taken place over the last couple of years in relation to EVCA. We want to see these plans take action in the respective areas of the ecosystem.
My role as an incubator is to provide a conducive environment for, I would say, entrepreneurs to turn into startups, right? So by that, provide them with a space, resources in terms of programming, connecting them to funders, and also building their capacity, right? So our space, as incubator, is to ensure that the entrepreneur can literally move from the idea to launch as quickly as possible and not feel the pressures of failing, right? So surround them with all the necessary resources that they need.
As an incubator manager, I work directly with a lot of small businesses. I usually would call them early stage ventures. I'm passionate about entrepreneurship, passionate about impact and creativity, and I get the opportunity to empower these young entrepreneurs to be able to provide value to markets, value to communities, and then value to the nations in which they exist.
From an iSpace point of view, we want to see our contribution to be more visionary. In that sense, the programs that we've done in the past, particularly with women in tech, now you see a lot of programming being done in that way, and being much more innovative in the programs that we develop. But for me personally, as the chairman for the Hubs, or shall I say the chairperson for the Hubs network in Ghana, I want my contribution to be somebody that focused on inclusion, somebody that focused on Hubs being collaborative rather than competitive, and also pouring knowledge sharing, so to speak, into the ecosystem. So looking at ways to support entrepreneurs and trying to get them funded.
In an economy like this, AVI provides a robust ecosystem for entrepreneurs to evolve and get access to opportunities. Our objective, or our major objective, is to de-risk the entrepreneurial process for entrepreneurs to help them to positively contribute economically and socially.
My experience so far working on the EVCA project has been amazing. I've interacted with great intellectuals. They've pushed you to think beyond just what it is that you do, right? And then also the fact that it's made you kind of much more outcome focused, right? So it's like we're not meeting for the sake of meeting, we're meeting because we want an outcome. And it's kind of enabled, or I would say supported, my notion of collaborative work can then get the ecosystem where it needs to be. So it's been very educational. I've learned a lot. And it's also kind of made me realize that I have a position to play and how important that position is, and then also working with other people to achieve that. So it's been very educational.
My experience on the EVCA project has been illuminating. understanding what role each player plays or stands for, opportunities that exist for entrepreneurs, and how we can collaborate to together create a system for entrepreneurs to thrive. I think that has been the most insightful thing for me. And to know that it's possible and that the entrepreneurs can change Africa. And I know that is a very big thing to say, but working on the EVCA project has made me understand that it's possible. And our young entrepreneurs are the future. It might be cliche, but yes, they will be the leaders that will change tomorrow.